You were taught that cruelty is always wrong, that kindness is always a virtue, that peace is always the goal. This is the morality of the sheep. It is a beautiful philosophy for a world that does not exist, and it is the reason you keep losing. Niccolò Machiavelli, a man who saw the world without illusion, knew a darker truth. Sometimes the kindest thing a man can do is to be cruel. Think about the battles you've lost, not in war, but in life. The toxic relative you kept forgiving, letting them steal your peace year after year. The weak employee you kept giving one more chance, while they dragged the whole team down. The rival who cut at your name with small, quiet jabs, while you stayed silent, telling yourself it was strong to be the bigger person. You called it kindness. You called it patience. You called it peace. But what you chose was a slow defeat. You didn't stop the pain. You stretched it out for yourself and everyone around you. Machiavelli understood what modern sentimentalism refuses to admit, that prolonged, indecisive conflict is the most destructive force in the universe, and that sometimes a single, swift, surgical act of cruelty is the most compassionate solution. This is not a guide to becoming a monster. This is a guide to understanding the forbidden logic of power. Today, we deconstruct Machiavelli's economy of cruelty. We will show you not if you should be cruel, but when and how. This is the lesson they were too afraid to teach you. To understand this forbidden logic, you must first earn a comfortable lie from your mind, the lie that kindness and cruelty are absolute opposites. They are not. They are both tools in the strategist's toolbox. A hammer is not good or evil. It can be used to build a home or to crush a skull. The morality lies not in the tool, but in the purpose for which it is used. The naive man uses only one tool, kindness. And when he needs to drive a nail, he hits it with a soft pillow, again and again, wondering why the structure of his life is so weak. The strategist understands that you must use the right tool for the job. Machiavelli's entire philosophy is built on a single ruthless foundation: results, not intentions, not feelings, not abstract moral codes. The only question a leader, a strategist, a sovereign individual should ask is, what action will lead to the best long-term outcome for me and for those I am responsible for? And sometimes the answer to that question is an act that looks, on the surface, like cruelty. This is the calculus of consequence. It is a form of thinking that requires you to look beyond the immediate emotional discomfort of an action and to calculate its second and third order effects. The weak man is trapped in the present moment. He makes decisions based on what feels good now. The strategist makes decisions based on what will build a better, more stable future. And a better future is sometimes built on the foundation of a painful present. This philosophy is based on three brutal, but necessary, laws. The first law is the law of the surgical strike. It states, one decisive, painful act is often more merciful than 1,000 small compromises. A slow, festering wound is far more dangerous than a quick, clean cut. Indecision, prolonged conflict, and death by 1,000 cuts do not spare feelings. They create a state of chronic, low-grade misery and anxiety for everyone involved. Let's make this brutally practical. You are the leader of a team. One member, let's call him Mark, is consistently underperforming. He misses deadlines. His work is sloppy. His negative attitude poisons the morale of the entire group. The nice manager's approach is to have a series of gentle, encouraging talks, to offer more training, to give him one more chance, and then another. What is the result? The entire team's performance suffers. Your best people become resentful, forced to carry Mark's weight. The project timeline slips. The quality of work declines. Your kindness to Mark is, in effect, an act of cruelty to everyone else on the team. You are sacrificing the whole for the sake of one failing part. The Machiavellian strategist understands the economy of cruelty. They know that the most compassionate act for the entire system is a single, swift, surgical strike. They call Mark into their office. They lay out the facts, clearly and without emotion. They fire him. Is this act pleasant? No. Is it painful for Mark in that moment? Yes, but it's also an act of mercy. For him, it means facing the truth and finding a role where he can actually thrive. For the team, it removes a problem that drags everyone down. Morale returns. People see that good work is valued and poor work has consequences. You show you will protect the group, even when the choice is hard. One tough decision now saves months, even years, of frustration. This is the logic of cruelty. It's not about liking the pain. It's about knowing that sometimes the sharp cut is the kindest move. The second law is the law of cold fire. It is based on Machiavelli's most famous and most misunderstood declaration. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. Modern society hears this and recoils in horror. They see it as a license for tyranny, a celebration of brute force. They are naive. They do not understand the subtle psychological genius behind this statement. Machiavelli did not praise fear because it is a noble emotion. He praised it because it is reliable. Love, he observed, is a fickle, fleeting, and conditional emotion. It is a bond of obligation, held together by 1,000 delicate threads of gratitude, affection, and shared history. But these threads are easily broken. Men, being ungrateful, fickle, liars, and deceivers, will break this bond the moment it becomes inconvenient for them, the moment their self-interest outweighs their affection for you. The friend who loves you will still betray you if it means saving his own family. The employee who loves the company will still leave for a better offer. Love is a fair-weather ally. Fear, on the other hand, is a primal, constant, and deeply reliable motivator. It is a bond of consequence. People may break a promise made out of love, but they will think twice before breaking a promise made out of fear of punishment. Fear is a far more stable foundation for order and obedience. The love of your people can vanish overnight, but the memory of your power and your willingness to use it lingers. It is a ghost that sits on their shoulder, whispering caution into their ear. This is the cold fire. It is not the raging, destructive fire of a tyrant who burns everything in his path. It is a controlled, strategic fire that creates light, warmth, and a very clear, very respected boundary. Let's put this into practice. Picture a family. The friendly parent who tries to be a buddy often raises a child with no respect for limits. The child learns that actions bring no real consequences and starts to take advantage of that weakness. The strict parent, on the other hand, sets clear rules and enforces them. The child may not like the rules, but they respect them. From that respect grows a deeper and steadier kind of loved one built on safety and trust, not chaos. The same is true in leadership. The leader who is desperate to be loved by his team will avoid difficult conversations. He will tolerate mediocrity. He will fail to make the tough calls. His team will like him, but they will not respect him. And when a real crisis hits, they will not follow him into the fire. The leader who is respected and even slightly feared is the one whose team will follow him anywhere, not because they like him, but because they trust his strength. They know he will make the hard choices to protect the whole. They know he is not a friend, but a leader. The law of cold fire is not about being a bully. It is about understanding that respect is a far more valuable currency than affection. And respect is always rooted in a clear understanding of consequence. Since love and fear can hardly exist together, if we must choose between them, it is far safer to be feared than loved. Niccolò Machiavelli. The third and most brutal law is the law of the scorched earth. It states, when you must strike so completely that you do not have to fear their revenge. This is the pinnacle of Machiavellian logic, and the one that separates the sentimental amateur from the ruthless master of strategy. The weak man, when forced to act, acts with hesitation. He wounds his enemy, but he does not finish him. He fires the problematic employee, but gives them a glowing letter of recommendation. He breaks up with the toxic partner, but wants to remain friends. He thinks these acts of mercy are a sign of his good character. Machiavelli would say, this is the most foolish and dangerous form of cruelty. A wounded enemy is not a grateful enemy. A wounded enemy is an enemy who now has a single, burning purpose in their life: to recover, to grow stronger, and to destroy you. Your half measure, your act of kindness, has not solved the problem. It has created a time bomb. You have given your enemy the two things they need most: a powerful motivation, revenge, and the time to act on it. When a surgeon removes a cancerous tumor, does he leave a few cells behind out of kindness? No. He cuts a wide, clean margin, removing even healthy tissue to ensure that the sickness can never return. This is the logic of the strategist. When a threat is identified and must be removed, the removal must be absolute. The enemy must be so completely defeated, so thoroughly dismantled, that they no longer have the capacity to seek revenge. This is not a call for physical violence. It is a principle of strategic finality. The employee who is fired for incompetence must not be allowed to linger in the company as a consultant, spreading poison and resentment. They must be removed, cleanly and completely. The toxic business partner who is cheating, you must not be just argued with. They must be legally and financially cut off, their ability to harm your enterprise completely neutralized. The manipulative friend who constantly creates drama must not just be avoided. They must be excommunicated, blocked, removed from your life so completely that they have no path back to poison your well. This feels cruel. It feels final. It feels unkind. But it is the ultimate act of self-preservation. And it is a mercy to you and to everyone under your protection. The law of the scorched earth is about understanding that some wars cannot be won with half measures. When you decide to go to war, you must be prepared to win it. Absolutely. So you see the forbidden's logic. The surgical strike that values long-term health over short-term comfort. The cold fire that values reliable respect over fickle love. The scorched earth that values absolute security over sentimental mercy. This is the operating system of power, a system that runs silently beneath the surface of our polite, civilized world. Strategic cruelty is not the opposite of kindness. It is part of real kindness. The nice man who avoids conflict is not kind. He is weak. His silence lets problems grow and spreads pain. One hard choice now saves far more suffering later. The truly kind man is willing to look like the villain at first, so others can live in peace later. He accepts being misunderstood today to create stability tomorrow. His courage to act, even when it seems cruel, is what makes his kindness powerful. So how do you use this without becoming a monster? How do you apply this hard truth in a way that is both strong and ethical? That is the path of the strategist, not the tyrant. First, define your kingdom and its laws. You must be crystal clear about what you are responsible for protecting. Your family, your business, your team, your mental peace. This is your kingdom. Within this kingdom, you can operate with compassion, trust, and generosity. But you must also define the laws of your kingdom. What are the non-negotiable values? What are the absolute red lines? Betrayal is not tolerated. Chronic incompetence is not rewarded. Emotional vampirism is not permitted. When someone from the outside world, or even from within, breaks these laws, your response should not be emotional. It should be the calm, swift, and impersonal execution of the law you have already established. This is not cruelty. This is justice. Second, master the art of the cold no. Before you can wield the sword of a surgical strike, you must first master the shield of a simple no. Learn to say no to requests that drain your energy without a long apologetic explanation. Learn to say no to opportunities that compromise your values without feeling guilty. Learn to say no to people who have not earned your yes. A simple, calm, and final no is the first and most important act of setting a boundary. It is a small act of cruelty to the person making the request, but it is a profound act of kindness to yourself. Third, train in the art of detachment. The actions we have discussed are only cruel when they are performed with anger, hatred, or pleasure. When they are performed with cold, detached, strategic necessity, they become something else entirely. They become a function of leadership. You must train yourself to separate the action from the emotion. Before firing an employee, before ending a toxic relationship, before cutting off a manipulative friend, you must find your own inner calm. You are not a vengeful God. You are a surgeon, removing a sickness. This detachment is the key. It is what ensures that you are wielding cruelty as a tool for a greater good, and not as an outlet for your own shadow. You have been given the keys to a forbidden room in the castle of your mind. You now understand the hidden economy of cruelty, the idea that sometimes the most merciful path is the one that appears most ruthless. You see the world not just as a place of love and connection, but as a constant, silent war for stability and order. What you do with this knowledge will define the rest of your life. You can retreat back into the comfortable lie of absolute kindness. You can go back to being the nice person, hoping the wolves will spare you for your good intentions. Or you can step up. You can accept the brutal reality of the world and use this knowledge not for personal gain alone, but to protect what you love, to build something that lasts, to become a force for order in a world of chaos. This is the final, unspoken lesson of Machiavelli. The ultimate power is not in dominating others. It is in mastering yourself so completely that you can make the hard choices that others are too weak to make. It is in becoming so strong, so clear, so strategically aware that your very presence becomes a stabilizing force. The nice man is not noble. He is a liability. But the good man who is not afraid to be cruel when necessary, he is a king. If you are strong enough to carry this weapon, if you are ready to stop being a victim of chaos and start being an architect of order, then make your declaration. Join the men and women who are choosing to be effective, not just nice. Go to the comments and declare your new understanding. Write, I am the surgeon. It is a declaration that you understand the necessity of the blade, a commitment to creating health, even when the cure is painful. Subscribe to the Thinker's Codex. Your real training has just begun.